She said it softly, like a blade hidden in velvet. "Ethan, I can't stand you anymore." The words didn't echo. They carved straight into me. I didn't fight. I didn't argue. I packed a bag before sunrise and drove until Denver's skyline shrank behind the horizon, telling myself distance might calm the storm. I'm Ethan Cole, 32, a high school history teacher who finds comfort in museums and black coffee. I married Madison Pierce, 30, a magnetic event planner who lit up every room. We met during a 4th of July concert in Civic Center Park. Fireworks burst above us, and Madison laughed at my nerdy commentary about the revolution, sparks glowing in her eyes. Our first anniversary was in Estes Park. A storm rolled over the mountains, thunder echoing through glass windows, and Madison whispered, "Keep this moment forever." For years we were fire and warmth. Road trips to Boulder, clumsy salsa lessons in Rhino, late-night takeout eaten on the floor. We weren't perfect, but we were real. Lately, though, her smile had become a mask. Vendor meetings stretched past midnight. She came home scented with sharp citrus perfume I didn't recognize, claiming exhaustion and waving away questions. "Long night?" I asked when she slipped in at 1:17 a.m. "Load in at the hotel," she muttered, eyes glued to her phone. The first red flag came not from her words but from a bank alert. An Uber charge to the Marriott Denver Tech Center at 11:40 p.m. When I brought it up over pancakes, Madison answered smoothly. "Vendor drop. The ballroom manager only deals late at night." She kissed my cheek as if punctuation could erase doubt. I wanted to believe her. I told myself trust wasn't measured by receipts, that marriage deserved faith. Still, my hands trembled as I stacked the plates. A week later, I found a dry cleaning slip in her tote, rush service for a red satin dress. Madison never wore red for work. Red was bold, meant to be seen. "What's the dress for?" I asked casually. "Charity gala consult," she replied too quickly, tugging at her sleeve. "They want elevated cocktail." That night I stayed at my brother Liam's apartment in Capitol Hill. Resetting, I called it. In truth, I needed distance to breathe. "Don't spiral," Liam warned, tossing me a blanket. "If she lies, she'll contradict herself. Write down everything. Paper doesn't forget." So I started a notebook. I titled it Timeline in block letters, logging dates, receipts, words. My handwriting shook, but the ink made me feel less insane. Madison's phone lived face down now, locked with a new passcode. Her shared calendar grew vague. Site visit, client tasting, Blue Ridge consult. None of them matched Denver venues. At the front desk one day, the concierge mentioned Tyler, who had used Madison's building badge to collect a package. My stomach turned. "Tyler's a freelancer," I lied smoothly, testing the name on my tongue. The concierge nodded, unaware of the storm beneath my calm. I wrote Tyler in the notebook and underlined it twice. The Uber receipt joined it, layered proof building in silence. When I once proposed, I'd dropped the ring because my hands shook. Madison had laughed until tears fell, then shouted yes loud enough to scare geese. "Let's take a weekend," I suggested now. "Cabin in Boulder." "No work." She shook her head. "Can't. Site visit in Boulder." But the next morning, Luna Studio, her supposed site visit, sat dark, closed sign dangling crooked. Snow dripped from the awning. That night, a strange text pinged my phone. "Elevator is keycard access. I'm already on 17. A pin followed. "Marriott Tech Center." My reply was steady. "Wrong number." But the truth pulsed in that message like a lighthouse calling out a shipwreck. I left Madison a note. Taking space. Back Sunday. It wasn't drama, it was surgery, cutting open the wound to see what bled. The motel neon buzzed outside. My timeline notebook lay on the nightstand. At 12:06 a.m., an email arrived. Late checkout confirmed. Marriott Denver Tech Center. 2 keys requested. I wrote it down. 2 keys. My chest burned, but my hand stayed steady. Calm anger feels like steel when grief runs out. When Madison came home later, lipstick deeper than usual, she smiled nervously. The room smelled of oranges. New vendor sample, she explained, brushing past me. On her Apple Watch, I glimpsed a GPS map looping around the tech center. The screen dimmed before I could grab proof. I poured motel coffee and reread the Marriott email. Words don't change on repetition. They only get heavier. The truth was accumulating, pressing harder. I circled Saturday in my notebook and wrote, verify, not accuse, not scream, just verify. Truth deserved daylight, not whispered guesses. Truth deserved daylight, not whispered guesses. That's why I drove straight to the Marriott lobby, notebook heavy in my jacket pocket. The air smelled of burnt coffee and lemon polish. I approached the desk with a calm voice that felt borrowed, rehearsed. Reservation for Madison Pierce? I asked. The clerk typed, then nodded. Checked in. 2 keys issued. My breath caught, though my face stayed still. 2 keys, I repeated, masking my tone as casual. He shrugged. Guests request it sometimes. He didn't notice my jaw tighten like a locked safe. Outside, I scribbled, confirmed, 2 keys. The words on the page weighed more than stone. Every letter was a nail hammered deeper. That night, Madison texted, late client dinner. Don't wait. I stared at the glowing screen, fingers itching to reply, but silence was sharper than any words. I drove to Union Station, pretending to grade papers, but my eyes searched the crowd instead. Every laugh sounded borrowed, every step suspicious. At 10:46 p.m., I saw her. Madison in the red dress, hair pinned elegantly. She wasn't alone. Beside her, a man in a navy blazer carried her clutch. He leaned in, whispered something, and she laughed too quickly. Tyler, she called him, her voice soft but clear. Hearing the name confirmed what my notebook had only guessed. I crouched behind a column, phone shaking in my hand as I hit record. My chest throbbed with each second captured. They walked out toward the ride-share zone, moving close, like gravity itself had linked them. I followed, my pulse loud in my ears. An Uber pulled up. Madison slid inside, Tyler after her. His hand brushed her thigh with careless ownership. My stomach turned. I snapped a photo before the car disappeared into downtown traffic. Blurry, but real. Proof carved into pixels. Back at the motel, I laid the photo beside the Marriott receipt. The evidence was stacking higher, but my heart kept searching for loopholes. Liam called. Find anything? His voice was steady. I whispered, enough to question everything. Not enough to confront without hearing another lie. Wait for the right moment, he warned. Don't corner her until she can't escape. His words echoed long after the call ended. The next morning, Madison came home humming, handing me coffee like a performance. Citrus perfume lingered, same as last night. Late night? I asked. She smiled thinly. Tyler needed floor plans reviewed. Clients panic. My pen scratched floor plans. Midnight. Lie. Later, while she showered, I checked her tote. Inside was a Marriott key sleeve, room number scribbled 1708. My lungs stalled. Steam still fogged the mirror as I slipped it back, careful not to disturb her rhythm. Room 1708 joined the timeline, underlined twice. That evening I circled the hotel garage. Her SUV sat parked neatly, ticket time stamped 6:12 p.m., hours before her client tasting. My throat tightened. At midnight her phone buzzed. She stepped into the hallway, whispering, "Same time tomorrow. Room 1708. The words sliced deeper than any blade. I leaned against the door, forcing steady breaths. Lies weren't shadows anymore. They had addresses, times, room numbers. I logged it all in the notebook, ink blotched from my trembling hand. Call confirmed, 1708. Tomorrow was circled in red. The day crawled by in fragments. Every movement, every smile felt staged. I barely tasted food. My body was present, but my mind lived elsewhere. When she left dressed again in crimson, I followed, headlights dim until we hit downtown. Her car slid into the Marriott lot like routine. Through glass doors I watched her greet Tyler, his hand pressed confidently at her back. She didn't flinch. She leaned into it. They entered the elevator together, doors sliding shut with a metallic sigh. The display blinked. 17. My knees weakened. I stood on the sidewalk, the city alive around me, but my world narrowing to one number. 17. My proof was sealed behind those doors. Notebook pressed to my chest, I knew the waiting was over. The next step wouldn't be notes or photos. It would be confrontation. The elevator doors closed with a metallic sigh, carrying Madison and Tyler upward. 17 glowed red above the lobby, a number that felt heavier than truth itself. I stood outside on the sidewalk, notebook clutched to my chest, heart drumming a war rhythm. Every second I waited was another nail hammered into our marriage. For hours I replayed it in my mind, her leaning into Tyler's hand, their bodies brushing as if I never existed. The air felt thick, poisoned by certainty. By morning I was done being a spectator. No more notes, no more photographs. Today would be confrontation in daylight, with no shadows left to hide in. I returned to the Marriott, walked to the desk, and forced my voice steady. My wife checked in last night, Madison Pierce. She forgot to give me my key. The clerk hesitated, then slid a spare card across. My hand shook as I pocketed it. The thin plastic felt heavier than steel. The elevator ride stretched forever. My reflection stared back in fractured glass, eyes hollow, jaw clenched, the face of a man walking into war. 17 chimed. I stepped out, carpet swallowing my footsteps. Room 1708 stood ahead, numbers gleaming gold like they mocked me. I slid the card. A green light blinked. The door clicked open, whispering betrayal into the silence. Inside, sunlight poured across tangled sheets. Madison's laugh rang out, light and familiar, followed by Tyler's deeper chuckle. Their world didn't expect me. "Madison," I said, my voice low but sharp. Her head snapped around, eyes widening in horror, mouth forming my name without sound. Tyler froze mid-step, shirt half-buttoned, face pale. The room smelled of citrus and wine, the stench of lies. "Ethan, what are you doing here?" Madison's voice cracked, panic mixing with guilt. She clutched the blanket tighter around her chest. "What am I doing here?" I held up the key sleeve, the Uber receipt, the photo. "No, Madison. What are you doing here?" Her tears came instantly, too quickly, rehearsed like a stage act. "It's not what it looks like." The oldest, emptiest line in the world. Tyler cleared his throat. "Look, man, this is between you two. I'll leave." His voice dripped cowardice, already reaching for escape. "You're not leaving," I snapped, surprising even myself. "You knew she was married. You knew exactly what you were doing." Madison sobbed louder. "Ethan, please, I was lonely. You pulled away. I didn't mean for this to happen." Her words collapsed under their own weight. "Lonely?" I laughed bitterly. "I begged you for weekends, for honesty, for anything real. And you chose this?" My hand swept across the wreckage of our trust. She shook her head, mascara streaking her cheeks. "I still love you." The words landed flat, strangled by proof surrounding us. I turned to Tyler. He shifted uncomfortably, grabbing his jacket. "Remember her face like this," I told him quietly, "because this is who she is when the lies end." He slipped out, silent, leaving the door to slam behind him. The room shrank to just us, 2 people and 1,000 shattered promises. Madison crawled closer, clutching the sheet. "Don't leave. We can fix this. I'll end it. I'll prove it." "Please, Ethan." I shook my head. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice, and choices carry consequences. My voice was calm steel, though my chest cracked inside. Her hand reached for mine, trembling, desperate. I stepped back, widening the canyon between us until no bridge could ever span it. I left without slamming the door. No shouting, no theatrics. Only silence, which weighed more than rage ever could. The hallway hummed with artificial light, the elevator indifferent as it carried me down. Each floor stripped away another piece of the life I thought I had. Outside, Denver's sun blazed, bright and merciless. I inhaled sharply, realizing the air tasted different, cleaner even with grief choking me. I called Liam. He answered instantly. "Well," silence was enough. "I'm sorry, brother, but you're free now." The word free rattled in my skull. It felt both heavy and light, a strange blend of grief and release. Freedom carved from betrayal. That night I packed Madison's things into boxes, dresses, shoes, photos, our life dismantled piece by piece. Each item dropped into cardboard felt like lifting a weight from my chest. I left the boxes by the door and wrote a single note. "Truth deserves daylight. We're done." My pen didn't tremble this time. When Madison came home, she froze. Her eyes darted to the boxes, then to the note. Mascara streaked her face again, but she didn't speak. I didn't wait for her excuses. I walked past her, opened the door, and stepped into the night. The door closed softly behind me, final as a tomb. The street was quiet, only the hum of traffic in the distance. For the first time in weeks, my shoulders felt lighter. Painful, but lighter. I looked at the notebook one last time. Every entry, receipts, lies, maps, proof I hadn't been paranoid. I had been betrayed, and now I was done carrying it. I dropped it into the trash outside. The pages fluttered once before disappearing. I didn't need it anymore. The truth was already carved into me. As I walked into the night, grief and clarity mixed in equal measure. I wasn't whole, but I was free, and freedom was a beginning, however jagged. Trust, once broken, doesn't heal the same way. If someone lies once, they might do it again, and ignoring red flags only makes them brighter until you can't avoid them.